library. Ms. Hurwitz came to the position well qualified and enthusiastic. We were immediately impressed with her professionalism and her cooperative attitude toward our group. We believe the library staff members were equally favorably impressed and were happy to have her as director. What happened? According to Ms. Hurwitz's public statements, as stated in the Journal News, the library trustees simply would not let her do her administrative job. They kept micromanaging her activities, giving credit to me. She felt like a secretary rather than a director. The role of the Board of Trustees of our library, as stated in its mission statement, is to develop and implement policies and to work with the library administration in planning and goal scheduling, not to micromanage the director's work by sending pages of things for her to do. Our library has been a nationally known institution for many, many years. Its fine reputation has been built under the leadership of capable, active librarians who have served as directors. In the past few years, however, apparently by bad choices of the library board of trustees or boards of trustees, library administration has not lived up to the first-class standards it has maintained in the past. We are sorry to say this, but today the Mount Vernon Public Library is one of the few excellent city services left in Mount Vernon. We know our school system has a poor reputation. Our hospital has been downgraded. We no longer even have a Social Security office here. Let's not, let's not let our respected status as Westchester's central library go down the drain because of mismanagement on the part of the Board of Trustees. Thank you.
The library has lost its tax-free status. We want to know how that happened, and now whatever the library buys is a lot more expensive than it has to be because we no longer are free of paying the tax. And we also would like to know what the board has done to get the tax-free status regained to the Mount Vernon Public Library, because it is a very serious loss, and I'm sure it harms the budget a lot. Then we have another question. The New York State Department of Education has declared this library to be a city school district library, and as such, it must have an elected board of trustees, and the library budget must be approved by the voters. What are your plans for complying with these rules? These rules have been in effect for many years, and Mount Vernon Library has never conformed to them.
Are you finished? Okay. So I'm going to respond to the first two questions because I've given reports on the tax status, so I can give you another update during my presentation. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, please do.
I want to speak to the first part of your question about the tax status, because I think a lot of people need to have this information, and I'm sure it's more than what I can say, but from the research that I've done on the topic, this comes out of the Patriot Act, quite frankly, and beginning in 2008, the library was supposed to file tax returns, and it didn't happen in 2008, and it didn't happen in 2009, and it didn't happen in 2010. So in 2011, the IRS notified the library, and the board has been working on getting the status restored in the absence of capable staff here, in the absence of a business manager, in the absence of a director. The board has taken on that process. I think it's important to understand that we're not the only institution that fell into this. A lot of people were unaware. We may be one of many now that still hasn't gotten it resolved, but there are a number of not-for-profits that did not conform.
Have you any idea of
If
when?
my memory serves me correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I made the very first phone call the day after it came to my attention, and I think it was June or July 2011 board meeting. Was it June? June of 2011. When it came to my attention in the June meeting of 2011, that evening, the very next day I called the IRS. would just hope that everybody has that understanding that there's a history here.
So-
It didn't happen overnight, and I don't wanna point fingers, but it has a history. It goes back to 2008.
So then,
That's the first year we were obliged to file, and we did not.
so then we can understand that this board has done whatever is necessary to get the tax-free status restored. And it's now up to the IRS to go through their process.
Well, I can't speak to that because that's where Trustee Tyson can speak to it. He's been bird dogging it, if you will. He can bring you up to speed on that. I just want the public to know, I want it reflected in our minutes, that as soon as it came to this board's attention, we acted on it.
I don't get it.
So it has been, and the,
And so, dealing with it, are not very easily solved. I think it's also important to make people aware that this board is a volunteer board, and we all have daytime jobs. And so, we come here and do what we can, and there are people who come to this library and think I work here. The staff will tell you how often I am here. And I think it's true of every other trustee, that they're here as much as they can be and do as much as they can. But the problems that exist in this library are really quite huge. And I don't think it's apparent to even people who spend a lot of time here like you do, the friends do. There are some really long-standing, deep-rooted problems here, and this board is committed to resolving them. It's like, taking small bites of an elephant until it's all dealt with. I kind of stop.
No, I actually took a couple chunks out of it, to use your metaphor. I took a couple chunks out of the elephant. In March, I was given the task from former election forwarding me back to the city clerk. I went back to the Board of Elections and I spoke with the deputy director, whose name I can't remember right now.
No, Tejan, yeah.
So she referred me back to the city of Mount Vernon. And at this point, we're gonna have to change our tactics as to how we deal with this problem, so that we can move forward and go for that vote in June, is it the
We have between April 1 and June 30.
Okay, so by June, before June 30th of next year.
What?
Last question. We have been missing for the central library budgets for 2012 and 2013. And he also resent the central library plan of service as well. This afternoon, I received an email from Arts Westchester. They too have had a cut in their funding of approximately $285,000, and this email was an email asking for support. And I assume that it was not, that I was not the only person on the list. It was probably sent to a number of people. Any questions, trustees, on correspondence? Good. Okay, so let's move right along to our director's report. Since in absence of the director, I have a quick report for you all to so in my report, I gave a very brief speech at the budget hearing for the city of Mount Vernon around 9 days ago. Around 9 days ago. Unfortunately, due to the time that we arrived there, my comments had to be kept very brief. Thus far, I have not had a meeting with the mayor. That meeting was postponed. It was supposed to happen last Friday at 10 o'clock. His office called me and postponed it till 10:45, and which I couldn't make it. So what I'm going to do is reschedule, and I'm going to meet with him on this Friday at 10 o'clock instead. I also went to a civil service meeting. I had some questions that I had for them. They were quite informative in their responses. I had to also have a staff meeting in order to keep the staff abreast as to our efforts to move on and to bring in another director. I sent memos Westchester, and I have to thank Trustee Burns for helping me with that effort. Unfortunately, we spoke about our partnership agreement over the phone a few months ago, and we were not satisfied that that agreement had not been properly vetted by the board and by the library director in conjunction with one another. The letters basically requested that we start having MOUs for our events when they want to have art in this library. The other memo spoke to the public arts project and our concerns about that project. Now, for that art project, we stipulated basically the conditions under which we would accept the project and we would move forward. I sent those memos out to Gary Pretlow, Mayor Davis, Legislator Williams, Janet Langsam, and her Associate Director, Joanne? And thus far, I have not heard anything from any party. I did speak to Janet very briefly on Friday. We had an issue with the Fishtails exhibit. It had not been removed on the date that had been promised by Arts Westchester. And Janet wanted to actually talk about the partnership agreement during that phone conversation, but I wanted to make sure that the exhibit was removed in enough time to get the Grace Before Dying exhibit up. I love it, by the way. So as I said, in terms of the meeting with Mayor Davis, that will be rescheduled for this Friday. If any trustee would like to join me, you're welcome to do so. I've also been contacting potential director candidates, and we have a meeting with one of them this evening. For the 501c3 status, so I will give a very brief history. I've been giving updates, but I'm going to give a very brief history. Trustee Burns talked about how we lost the status. We decided to hire a tax consultant, outside tax consultant, to advise us how to proceed forward. This person, his name is Khalid Ali. He has expertise on this new law. He knew a lot about the new law as it pertains to nonprofit organizations. And it's a two-step process, basically. The first step involves basically making a reapplication, and that is to reapply for it's a Form 1023. That form was accepted by the IRS, but they asked us to provide 990s for every year every year that was mentioned in the 1023. So that would be 2008, 9, 10, and 11. His work on those forms is not complete. The only thing